Million-dollar minds, African students who built nations. In the mid-20th century, as the winds of change swept across the colonial world, a new generation of leaders emerged. They were young, ambitious, and determined. They carried the hopes of their nations and the dreams of their people. These were the million-dollar students, bright minds whose education would pave the way for independence and self-determination. Learn well, my son. One day you'll help build this nation. In Nigeria, a nation on the cusp of independence, education was seen as the most valuable investment. Promising students were sent abroad to study at the best universities in Britain and America. Among them was Nnamdi Azikiwe, a visionary who studied in the United States, where he honed his skills as a journalist and political thinker. Our independence is not a gift, but a responsibility. It is the price we pay for our dreams. Alongside him, Obafemi Awolowo, who studied law in London, championed education as the foundation of progress. His policies as premier of the Western region laid the groundwork for free primary education in Nigeria. Many a young intellectual, like Njoku Nwawodu, embraced this opportunity. As Nigeria's first marine engineer, he charted a new course for the nation's technical progress. The journey abroad was not just a leap into opportunity, it was a confrontation with prejudice. For many African students, the promise of education was shadowed by the reality of racism. Boarding houses refused to rent rooms. Cafes turned them away. On campuses, they were often met with suspicion and condescension. They see the color of my skin before the content of my mind. But I know that what I carry within me, the hopes of my people, will outshine their ignorance. Despite the barriers, these students leaned on each other, forming tight-knit communities of resilience. Together, they turned these challenges into fuel for their mission, proving that their presence was not just tolerated, it was transformative. While the people toiled at home, a select few carried their hopes overseas. They were the students, young men and women sent to the corners of the world to learn the tools of governance, justice, and leadership. Seek ye first the political kingdom, and all else shall be added unto it. In Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah dreamed of a united Africa. In Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta carried the burden of his people's fight against colonial oppression. And in Tanzania, Julius Nyerere envisioned a land free of exploitation, where the dignity of the farmer and teacher would reign supreme. Among these voices were the women, mothers, teachers, and activists. In Nigeria, Margaret Ekpo demanded a seat at the table, ensuring that women's rights were part of the independence conversation. A nation that ignores its women ignores half its strength. In Ghana, Hannah Cudjoe mobilized women to fight for self-determination. And in Algeria, women like Jamila Buhari took up arms for freedom. We were not just fighting for our sons and brothers, we were fighting for ourselves, for the right to exist as equals in a free nation. But the fight for freedom was not waged in universities alone. Across Africa, the hopes of ordinary citizens were woven into the fabric of independence. We didn't need the British to tell us how to farm. We needed them to leave us the profits of our labor. When the students returned, they brought more than knowledge. They brought strategies for governance, ideals of justice, and a vision of self-rule. Today, we stand as equals among nations, ready to shape our destiny. The independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked with the total liberation of Africa. The road was not easy. The students turned leaders faced challenges that tested their ideals, ethnic divisions, political upheavals, and the lingering shadows of colonialism. When the flag was raised, I cried, not because it was the end of the struggle, but because it was the beginning of a new one. The million-dollar students laid the foundations for the Africa we know today. Their legacy lives on in every child who walks into a classroom, in every leader who dares to dream of a brighter future. To the ordinary and extraordinary people who dreamed of freedom, and to the generations carrying their legacy forward.